92.5. Brooke and Jubal's second date update.
You know, dating is a lot like driving, especially if you're a dude, because you have to learn to pay attention to the signals, right? Like at the end of a date, think of it like you're at an intersection. Okay? If the girl gives you a red light, you know, stop. Okay. But oftentimes, they'll give you the green light signal to go in for a kiss or something like that. And a lot of dudes are texting and not paying attention, and they don't pick up on the green light, and there's people honking at them like, just go for it, go for it. And then before they know it, the light turns to red, and they've missed their opportunity to get through the intersection. That happens to a lot of people. Hannah, who was on the phone today for a second date update, thinks that the guy she went out with didn't know how to read her signals correctly and didn't go for a kiss at the end of the night. Hannah, how are you?
I'm okay. Little nervous.
A little nervous? Don't be nervous.
We don't blame you.
You're fine.
So tell us a little bit about the guy you want to call today. I know you're in your email, you said that you think he wasn't very good at picking up on your signals, but let's first find out about your date. How'd you meet him?
His name's Eric.
Mm-hmm.
I met him at my church's young adult singles group.
I've never been to a singles group for a church. Like, do you all get in a room and you pair up? Do you do speed dating? What happens?
Pair up? What?
I don't know.
At our church, they just have some music playing and, like, there's snacks and hors d'oeuvres, and usually everyone sort of hangs out at first with the people they know, and then casually you sort of start talking to people.
And by the way,
okay.
church singles mixers where you meet the biggest freaks.
No!
Dude, I grew up in church camps my whole life. I never got more action than at church camps. It's a great place to meet people who are down to mess around.
God.
So how'd you meet Eric then when you were at the singles mixer?
Well, he's friends with one of my best friends. So he came over and started talking to me, and, you know, I thought he was cute. He's kind of, like, goofy looking, but I like that. You know, he was sort of funny. You know, it's important to me, too. So we just started talking.
Did he seem nervous when you guys first met?
No. That night he seemed sort of comfortable, maybe because my friend was there, you know, that he knows really well.
Now, you called him goofy looking. Let me ask you a question about yourself.
Oh.
If you were to say between you two, would you say that you're hotter than him?
Oh, I'm definitely the hot one.
Okay. I'm just wondering, because normally girls who say that, they tend to be hot girls who kind of date down because they like a guy's personality, so I'm just wondering if that's you.
Wait.
Well, I think he's cute, and that's what's really important.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
but-
You know how many times I get that? Like, no, you guys don't understand. Like, I think he's cute. For me, he's cute.
For me.
Yeah.
That's sweet,
but
though.
I do think he's cute, but I would say that most people would say, you know, he's not traditionally handsome.
Okay,
Right.
so you guys obviously went out on a date after this thing, right? Or are you just calling about?
Yeah.
Okay, what'd you guys do?
We went to go see the Christian church band, and, you know, it was fun. He wasn't as sort of outgoing as he was when I first met him.
Mm-hmm.
He was, I don't know, maybe I would say almost a little bit boring, but a really good listener.
Was there any, like, drinking involved at all? I don't know how.
No, I mean, I didn't drink anything, and maybe he did before, but since I didn't, I guess he didn't. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I
just
guess
wondered-
what kind of Christian are you? Are you one where alcohol is an absolute sin, or do you have a couple drinks?
Oh, I can have a couple drinks. I just
Okay.
didn't
Okay.
that night.
I didn't know if you guys were loosening up or
Right,
anything.
no, well, maybe we should have.
Yeah. Was there a special moment that you guys shared, or, you know, something that really stuck out about that evening?
No, he was just a really good listener, and it was nice. You know, it was nice.
So why do you? Okay,
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a rave review about your date so
he's
far.
not attractive.
Why do you want to call him for a second date update?
Well, because I think that there's potential there. I feel like maybe he's just kind of shy, and so maybe this was like the date where he's super shy, and then he can kind of go back to the guy that I thought was a little more fun that I met with my friend, you know.
Yeah.
I would like to hang out with that guy again.
All right, so you want to hang out with the guy before, but in your email, you said that he was not picking up on your signals that you were giving him at the end of the date. What do you mean by that?
What happened was at the end of the night, he walked me to my door and then sort of waited, and nothing happened. So then I pretended to drop my keys, you know?
Oh, classic.
Is that your go-to move to let a guy know that you're kind of killing time so he can kiss you?
I don't know, to be honest. I've never had to wait, but so he got them. But I guess he didn't get the clue because he just sort of was holding out my keys. And then I just said, you know, maybe we should hang out again. And he was like, sure. And then he left.
So
Did he give you a hug or anything?
Yeah, he hugged me. And then last week, I sent him a text.
You sent him a text?
Yeah, a couple of days later, I said, how's your week going? And then he replied, "It's okay." And that's,
That was
That's
it?
all he sent you?
Whoa.
yeah.
Did you say anything else after the "it's okay" text? Like you try to hit him
Did
back?
I?
Yeah.
It's the last thing I heard from him, because then I thought, like, hey, wait a minute, I'm working too hard here, Like, I want to see him, but
It sounds like to me like he may be just like really unexperienced dating. If you guys were to go out again, would you be okay being the person who made the first move?
no.
Okay.
I think you may have to with this guy.
I've been in that situation before where it's been at the end of a date and I know deep down that I should kiss somebody and then I don't.
Oh, I hate
and then
that.
after that, I'm like, I don't even know if I want to go out with her again because now I just,
blew it.
yeah, I blew my chance. So, maybe he's feeling like that.
I hope he doesn't think that, because I do like him.
Okay. So when I get him on the phone for the second date update, do you want that to be the first thing that I say to him? Like, hey, man up and make out with Hannah already.
Oh, my gosh, no.
Okay. Well, we'll play a song, come back, call him, get him on the phone, and get your second date update, all right?
Thank you.
Okay, hang on.
Moving 92.5. Brooke and Jubal in the mornings. Second date update.
If you're just joining us for the second part of today's second date update, Hannah is on the phone with us. She wants to call a guy named Eric. They met at church in a young adults mixer, went out to a concert, and then after the concert, there was an awkward moment where he dropped her off, walked her to her door. And she was putting out the signals that she wanted to kiss. Her signal was she dropped her keys in order to kill time in hopes that he would pick them up and then maybe kiss her. Instead, he picked them up and gave them to her and said, "Here's your keys. Have a good night." And she hasn't heard from him since, so we're about to get him on the phone. Hannah, I think the problem was that your signal to him was a little weak. I think next time, instead of dropping the keys, you just drop the pants. No question
Oh,
there.
my gosh.
Yeah, but there's no question.
Oh, wow.
No? You want to try that out?
Oh my God.
No.
See,
not
I think
good.
I wish women would be a little more blunt like that. And then I would be like, oh, okay, cool. She wants to kiss.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, I'm about to dial the phone number and get him on the phone and see what the reason is that he's not calling you back.
Okay, thanks. I'm excited and nervous.
Hello,
Hi, can I speak to Eric, please?
this is Eric.
Hey, Eric, how are you? This is Jubal from Brooke and Jubal in the Morning, the radio show.
Brady. Okay.
All right, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay. The reason that I'm calling you, though, is we do a segment on our show called the Second Date Update. That's where if somebody goes out on a date with someone and then they feel like they're getting blown off after the date, they email us to call that person and ask them why. You recently went out with a girl named Hannah who listens to our show.
Oh.
And Hannah is wondering why you haven't called her or texted her and asked her to go out again.
Okay.
Did you like Hannah?
Yeah, Hannah was fine.
Okay.
Fine.
Do you have a few minutes to tell us why you're not texting her back?
Well, we hung out for about 3 hours at a concert, and I guess I just didn't really know what to say.
Like you didn't know what to say, like it was awkward for you to be on the date, or
Well, for me, she was hard to have a conversation with.
Was
Okay.
she like intimidating or something because she was real pretty?
No. She just said a few things where I said to myself, I was like, I don't think I could see myself having a relationship with this person.
what type of things are we talking?
She just had a lot of her facts wrong.
Her facts about what?
Just like pretty basic stuff.
Can you give me an example?
I mean, for one thing, at one point, she said she thought Islam was a country.
Okay.
All right, that's
That's fun.
Not a
mistake.
religion, okay.
Yep.
All right.
We also were talking about like crazy things that we've eaten at restaurants, and I said like, well, this is pretty common, but I've had duck.
Yeah.
And she was like, duck. Now, would you consider that a meat or a fish?
Come on.
Really? She said that?
Yeah.
All
Do you
right.
think-
I kind of get what you're saying then.
That's
So
amazing.
you don't necessarily feel like she's not as smart as you, but you feel like she might be kind of an airhead a little bit.
Well, it's just like, yeah, I mean, there are different types of intelligence, and I just feel like she lacks a sort of basic factual level
Is there-
of knowledge.
Is there any way that she could have just been playing it up and doing the, because some girls do the bimbo thing because they think guys think it's cute.
Oh, yeah.
You could tell it wasn't like she was planning these things. Like at one point we were talking about something, and she goes, "I think comedy is so funny." And
Obviously.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, that's what comedy's job is.
I like that.
girl.
Eric, you and I are a lot different because that I got out with her, I've been like, perfect. You're right on my level. But
Funny
you,
things are funny.
yeah,
You're
comedy
right.
is a funny thing sometimes. So you just feel like she wasn't on your level then.
Basically, most of the date, I just was sitting there going like, I don't want to be this guy who just spends the whole time correcting her
Yeah.
because it just makes me seem like an arrogant kind of know-it-all. And if I had spent my time correcting her, then our conversation would have gone almost nowhere because I would have had to do it like every minute or so. So I just don't think we ever really need to talk again.
Really? That's a shame because she's actually on the phone and wants to talk to you.
Are you serious?
Yes, I am.
So I'm kind of confused. I mean, it sounds like,
Yeah, we know.
that because I wasn't perfect or didn't know all of the same things that you do quite as well, that you are saying that I'm stupid? Is that what I heard?
I did not once say that you were stupid.
No, you didn't
Right.
actually say those words, but because I'm not stupid, it certainly sounded like you were saying that I was.
I don't think that you're stupid.
I think you do.
That no, I
which is-
don't. I don't think you're stupid. I think that for the kinds of things that I usually like to talk about and the issues that the things that I was kind of putting out there to see what you would say, it wasn't really working out.
I may not be as smart, in certain areas, but I have street smarts, and I think I'm pretty bright. I mean, okay, for example, I was right. Comedy is funny.
It is.
And tragedies are
Yeah.
sad.
She has a point, Eric. She was right.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You're not wrong about that. But I think that, if you don't get why that's kind of a weird thing to say, then I think that is kind of the issue
Not
right there.
here. It's true.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But also, we don't need to talk about how water is wet,
Maybe we do.
then see, if you think that, then that's fine. But I am so not interested in talking about that.
Wow.
I think you're being kind of picky, Eric. I mean, yeah, she gets some facts wrong and she doesn't really, maybe be book smart, but she sounds like a delightful person.
Can I just point out something? I thought, if you had fun with someone or you enjoyed them and, if the person was extremely attractive, that was kind of, important, too. And I was willing to I was going to just sort of ignore that part.
See that look,
Whoa.
Eric? Do you think that you can ignore her not being on your level intelligence-wise if Hannah ignores the fact that you're not on her level hot-wise? Is what she's saying, I think.
It's a nice balance.
Yeah, I picked up on that.
Oh, my gosh.
I guess that brings me to my next point then. Would you guys like to go out on a second date? Eric, would you like to go out with Hannah again? I will pay for it. She'll ignore the fact that you're not as good looking as she is.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh,
Come on,
shocker.
opposites attract.
So you don't even want to go out with me again? I mean, I kind of was being really nice to you still, despite everything you were saying about me. I'm sort of shocked that you don't want to try to make it up to me, You weren't very nice.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, but that's the way the...
Okay, so, what do we do now? I see you, one of the church events, and I see you and I go, oh, hey, there's the guy that thinks I'm an idiot.
Yeah, I guess. And then I'll be like, hey, there's the girl who thinks I'm ugly.
Look at that. It actually is a perfect second date update. It worked out for both you guys. Now we're all on the same page. That is amazing how that actually worked out for them like that. Text in at 78592 says, I'll date her. She's right on my level.
At least Most people know where they are, right?
It's true. I mean, I guess you can't blame him too much if he just didn't feel like they connected on the intelligence level. You know, I mean, if you go out with somebody you feel like they're not as smart as you, maybe you don't want to go out with them again. Personally, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, I look for that.
Yeah. It's the first thing I look for.
It's hard for Jose to find, though. Someone below his